Yeah. So good evening, all of you. Welcome to the session Cloud Journey Crawl, a cloud journey, CWRF, a cloud journey. CWRF is C for crawl, W for walk, R for run, F for fly. So we are planning to make you fly on the cloud. So that is the main objective behind this, my dear friends. So as you know, I am representing BS Narayan Center for Advanced Learning and Software Development, BMS College of Engineering, Bangalore. Thanks to management for giving me opportunity to train the next generation, to train young minds. So this center is mainly for training the students on latest and cutting edge technologies. So in this connection, just I am trying to get people from industry. We'll interact with them and we'll take suggestions from industry experts so that it helps us to get our dream job in IT industry. So friends, let's make this session more interactive. Feel free to ask your questions to Amin and Hemanth. Both are eagerly waiting for your queries. Amin, having 18 years of experience in IT, he started with electronics background. Now he is working on cloud. Anytime you ask Amin on LinkedIn, he says, "I'm what you told Amin today on LinkedIn." Um,
Uh,
just
is it? Yeah. Repeat that again.
yes, Amin, 1 minute. Yeah, I asked Amin today evening, "How are you?" He told, "I'm sorry, Siva, my head is on the cloud." uh,
Yes.
Amin, your head is in the cloud or on the cloud?
Normally that is a fun joke that we always use. Like your head is supposed to be in the cloud for you to be in the cloud. So that was why I sent you that information that my head is in the cloud. And to be honest, my head is in the cloud.
Okay, head is on the cloud.
Yeah.
Okay,
In
cool.
the cloud, in the cloud.
In the cloud. Okay. Yeah. And let me introduce Hemanth. Hemanth is working for Verizon, as I told you. Now, let us start with. Now, this question is for both of you. Anyone can take this. Um, First, let me ask both of you what motivates you to choose this particular technology like cloud computing?
Okay. Now we'll go. So okay, for me, because normally, if you look at the way the world usually move with regards to career, you have to make yourself, you have to make yourself to be in the position wherein you will be relevant in the next decade or so. So that being the case, you have to be proactive to know like what is going to be relevant in the future. So, and when I was doing my master's program, some of the programs that I was introduced with, and some of the trends that were going on was machine learning, big data, cloud computing, and the like. But cloud computing is the infrastructure, but machine learning and all of those other bits are the things that are running inside the cloud computing. So this is one of the things because I want to be relevant. I want to be working in the industry the next decade or so. So obviously, this is one of the main reasons why I decided to move into this direction. And one another important thing that I would like to mention is technology. We use it depending on its impact. like what it is doing. So cloud computing is definitely proven to be the solution, and it is impacting, and it is because imagine when this pandemic came in, um, most of the things were done online. Still now the world is moving, things were happening, solutions were, and it is simply because of the internet and cloud computing. This is why things were moving, and this is one of the main reasons why I decided to move into cloud computing. Like you rightly said, I have started in electronics engineering, moving to the IT, and I was working on premises data center. Now I am thinking about going into the cloud. So I don't know whether that is where it's going to stop, but hopefully that is where we are heading to. And thank you for that question.
Krishna, I would also like to answer the same question, but in my way. And give me some time, so I might take some 2 or 3 minutes, first of all, to introduce myself, then how it started, how IT journey have started for me, and how I came into DevOps and cloud. Okay. Yeah. So I've completed my graduation in mechanical engineering, which is nowhere related to IT. So when I was in graduation, I've been to the interview at TCS. I was selected for it. Initially, in my mind, there are a lot of questions. Why IT? I have done mechanical engineering. I should pick up somewhere in my core job to have my future in a better way. But due to many reasons, I couldn't get into my core job. I got into IT. I've joined in TCS as a fresher in IT. So imagine the life of a mechanical guy in software. In the initial days, no one will come to you and no one will tell you. Everyone will make fun of you because you don't know anything. I just had C language in one of my semesters in my first year. That was 10 years, 10 odd years back. So I don't know anything except that in IT. So I've put based off my efforts to learn everything, what is new, what is happening in IT, what is IT, how an organization works, how agile teams work, what is agile first of all, what policies do organizations follow, all these things. I've put in a lot of my efforts. So the project which I am into is basically on DevOps initially. Later, the project which I moved now and working in Verizon is mostly cloud. So first of all, I believe, do you have knowledge on what is data center? Nisarga, Prahlad, Saloni. I want answers from you so that I can tell you in a better way if you don't know the meaning of that. Just telling you the words doesn't help you in any way. You can read the definitions in Google also.
That's right.
Yes, Saloni, is there any questions? Do you know about these words? What
Data
Hemanth is
center,
talking about?
cloud computing, DevOps, or anything which is related to IT. Have you heard about these words? Do you understand what really that mean?
Yes, sir. I have heard about cloud, DevOps, and Kubernetes.
Okay. So
We
do you
had a
understand what
course
is,
also.
sorry, please go ahead, Saloni.
We had a course in our second semester, sir, which was taken by SRK sir itself, sir.
So you understand what is data center, right?
Can you repeat it again, sir?
Data center.
Yes, sir.
So can you tell me? This is, first of all, this is not an interview and I'm not asking you any questions. If you know, well and good. If you don't know, I'll explain. I'm asking you to understand what is your level of understanding so that I can explain you better.
So for me, like data center is where it is infrastructure where all the datas have been stored in there, sir. In a form of like in cloud, they have stored it and all. So they based on the usage, they'll pay and they'll use the datas.
Saloni, I think you are getting confused between data center and cloud. Okay, anyway, I understood. I'll explain you. Data center is nothing but a physical building in which they have a cluster of servers. When I say cluster, group of servers, many group of servers, which are interconnected together in a same network with available the required power which is required to run all those servers. So you can think of a data center like a group of computers sitting at one place. So whenever I'm trying to handle one request which is related to an application, suppose my application suppose in your WhatsApp you want to see your friend's last scene. Where will WhatsApp get that information on last scene? It will go to its data center, find the information from the database, and get you back and display in your application. So data center will have the servers, which are maybe web servers, application servers, or database servers. Basically, data center is a place where you have group of all these things. Initially, what companies used to do, they would purchase their own servers, they would maintain it. In order to maintain a data center, they have to pay for the electricity, the network, the labor cost, and the physical maintenance of servers. All these things they have to bear. This is called as capital expenditure. Capital expenditure is something like a prepaid plan. You already pay for it and then use it. So when coming to cloud, all these data centers are managed by some third-party vendors. You can imagine them as Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and there are many other cloud providers as well. These are main cloud providers. They will take care of this physical servers, network, current, and the labor of this building. What you are going to do, you are going to only pay for the time you use that server. Suppose your application took 5 seconds to get the query executed and get the result back to you. So you pay only for the 5 seconds which you have used for that server. That is cloud. Data center is something which the company maintains by itself. Means the physical server, the cost of labor, the network, the electricity, everything the company have to bear. In cloud, what it happens is the data center is maintained by third-party providers like Amazon, Microsoft, or Google. And the companies will pay only for the time which they used, maybe even in seconds. They use only a server for 3 seconds, they'll only pay for 3 seconds. This is the basic difference. And the main advantage of cloud over the traditional data center is that in traditional data center, you have both capital expenditure and operational expenditure. Means you'll have to invest in buying all the servers, maintaining them, all those things. And for operations, the time you have used all those things, for everything you need to pay. In cloud, you will only pay for operational expenditure. You will not invest anything in your data center. There will be no physical data center for you. The providers will take care of that. You will only pay for the time you use, say 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 1 minute, or whatever the time it is. In this way, it is saving the capital expenditure and saving your operational costs also. So whenever you are done with your task, you are not going to pay anything. Then and there it exits itself. So that is the main advantage of cloud. There are different types of offerings which you get in a cloud computing that you will obviously come to know once you drill down into further. So what I suggest for you to learn in cloud computing, not just reading definitions. Definitions everyone will know. It is available all over the internet. When I'm studying, we used to use 1 GB per 1 month. I think it's around 170 or 180 rupees we used to spend, and we used to get only 1 GB. Nowadays, we are getting 1 or 2 GB per day. So the cost of internet has been changed a lot. So opening the doors for you. If you are using it in the right way, then you can learn much more. So the opportunity is there for all of you. Don't just read the definitions. See what you are reading, what you are learning, and where it is fitting. Suppose if you are reading about a data center, what does a data center do? What does it have? Don't just by heart the definitions. What does company get from data center? What is difference between cloud and the traditional data center? All these things you have to understand from end to end. Means as a user, you have to understand. as an employee of a company, you have to understand what you have to do. As an organization, you have to understand what you have to do in order to save cost for your company. So when you are understanding, this is called a 360 degrees view of things. So when you are looking at something, you should view at it from all the possible sides. Then you will get the clear solution. If you are looking only with a particular view or only from one side, you may not be understanding the complete picture of it, thereby misunderstanding. I mean, there are chances to misunderstand the actual information. So this is what I feel like giving you the basic info difference between the traditional data center and cloud one. And I'm sorry, I might have taken a bit of time, but I just wanted to make you understand the basic difference so that going further, you'll clearly understand the difference and it will help you.
Yes, Hemant. Yeah, that answer to the question, what motivates you to come to the cloud computing technology? What
Yeah,
makes you to choose?
as I have told, companies, nobody wants to spend much, right? Everyone wants to save their own money, be it an individual or a company or whatever, whoever it is. So companies don't want to spend the initial cost. They don't. They want to make less expenditure on infrastructure or any kind of things related to it. So the cloud came into picture. So organizations are paying for only what they are using, strictly 2 seconds. Maybe in future microseconds also get counted and built according to that. So the companies nowadays are cost optimized. I mean, looking at cost optimization, because no one wants to buy 10 servers. Suppose for we have Amazon uh, big billion sales or something like that. Those times the load on Amazon servers will be very high. Means the company needs many more servers, many more databases to handle those requests. So, if you buy all the servers, then when there is no sale, I mean, there is no spike in sales, or when there are no sales, the company runs in a loss to maintain all those servers which are purchased. But in a cloud, you can go to hundreds and thousands of servers in just minutes and you use them. Once your demand goes down, we'll also pay less. We'll not be bothered about what is happening to the rest of the servers, and we don't need to bother about that. So in that aspect, every company is looking to save their costs, and everyone is moving to the cloud. This is the main reason for me or my company to looking that way and opt for the cloud computing. It is same as done before, but we are not investing anything in before. We are not buying anything physically. We are only paying for what we use, which is reducing overall expenditure for the company, saving costs, saving time, saving efforts, and making easy for us to work on the systems. Suppose for a traditional data center, we might take 3 to 4 months at least to buy a server, get it delivered, install it, may plug in all the connections and make it available. It may take 3 to 4 months. But in cloud, I think it will be only 1 or 2 minutes hardly to get a server. So that is the main difference, and that is the main reason we are into cloud.
Okay. Amin, this is the question to you. Uh,
Yeah.
how to choose which cloud is suitable for the organization, or which cloud or which service I should learn? Like there are many available, right? Like AWS by Amazon, Azure by Microsoft, Google Cloud, HP, IBM, VMware. Many big players are into cloud technologies now, cloud industry now. How to choose which is the best cloud for the organization, or which certification I should do to get a job, to enter into IT?
Wow. Thank you so much for that question. That's a very, very important question. And it is very, very huge as well if you have to explain it. So I will try my best to see how best I will explain it, not to make it that extensive. Okay. In my experience, the vendors, they have differences with regards to what they can do and what they offer. Like from my own point of view, AWS is more of an infrastructure institution with regards to cloud. So if you are an institution who wants to do cloud provisioning, more about infrastructure, like AWS is the way to go. Okay, when you look at Azure, Microsoft is customer centric. So if you are an organization who would always want to like tell vendor about like I want this, I want that, and for them to do all of those things for you, Microsoft is the way forward. Okay, and if you want to, if you are an institution who wants to do things about like machine learning and AI, Google is better in that. So, but with despite all of those advantages that each will have in their own way, that does not mean you cannot do machine learning with Microsoft. It doesn't mean like you cannot do machine learning with, or it doesn't mean Microsoft is not good in infrastructure. So it depends on the institution and its use case with regards to the way you want to, and it depends on the pricing as well. There are a lot of things that are involved in this. So normally what you will do is, and usually what the encouragement right now, the trend is even going is like if you are in the cloud, try to at least be working in two vendors, so that if one vendor goes down, then you will be another vendor will be up, so that you will have high availability. Okay, so this is something that they are encouraging in cloud computing. So wherein you will not only specialize in only one, but you will have two working. But you have small organizations that may not be able to afford things like that. So you also have to look into which organization do they have to go into. You have small organizations that are just coming up, and you have to provide something for them. So, and the other thing you have to also put into consideration is expertise, because you will obviously need someone to be able to, at least if you have a cloud environment, to look at that cloud environment and service it for you, so that you will have it up and running. So depending on the expertise out there, and that is where the importance of certifications come in, because the more experts you have out there, and the more you can have people who will be able to keep your industries for you. So if you are going in for certifications, I will say you try at least you go in for two vendors. You either go for AWS and Azure, or you go for Google and Azure, or you go for Google or AWS. So, but if you can go for three, it's like the more you go, the wider you go, the better. But sometimes that is not possible. Sometimes you have to specialize, because the thing is, if you specialized in one, like someone who specialized in AWS and someone who is working with the three, likely the person who specialized in one will be better in that specific one than someone who specialized in three. So that also matters. So, but always what we usually need to do is we need to follow the business people, what they want, because what the business people want, that is what we have to provide with them. We can give them advices that this is what is good, and that is what, but they are the ones with the money, and they are the ones that are going to invest that money. So whatever they want is what we have to provide for them. So to conclude this, with regards to certifications, you have to know the because AWS is having the biggest share in the cloud, then you have to know that which one is having the biggest share, then which one follows. Microsoft follows, then Google follows. You have to know that, and after knowing that, then because you need to make yourself relevant to the market. So, and if you go for the best certifications, that will make you relevant for you to definitely grab your dream job in the industry. So that is very important. And secondly, talking about cloud computing, because cloud computing is a virtualized network, so it's a data center. Once you have the basics, because some people will think, is it possible for me to be able to learn like all the three? Okay. Of recently, I think I did in 2 months, I did 6 certifications and I passed all. So, and the main reason behind that is the cloud is the cloud. It doesn't really matter whether it is AWS, whether it is Google, or whether it is any other vendor. The technology is the same. The difference there is the names. You should be able to know that the way they call a virtual machine in AWS is completely different from the way they will call it in Azure, and it will be different the way they will be calling it in Google. So those are the differences, but the cloud is the cloud. So for you to have expertise or certifications in series of clouds, it is not very difficult, because DevOps in Azure is not different from DevOps in the concepts are not different. Even if you did not have certification in AWS, like for example, but you have certification in this, you will be able to work in all platforms. You just need to be able to know the names and you just move forward. So I think to conclude this, all the certifications are important, but you have to know the hierarchies, and you know which one you have to go for. And sometimes some people will tell you, go in for the certifications, I will give you the job. So if they tell you that, go for that certification, because then you will have the job. So I think certification is key to get you there. Thank you.
Just one small point I want to add, Amin. It is the continuation to the previous question. Suppose
Okay.
you are there into recruitment team. Okay. So here there are 4 students are there. Okay. You
Okay.
got their profiles. So what you want to, what makes you to select 1 or 2 candidates out of these 4? What you see in those resumes, in their profiles as a recruiter?
Okay. Now, if I have to, now if a technical, because when it comes in terms of recruitment, it depends the person who is doing the recruitment. Technical people, if they are doing recruitment, they do recruitment based on certain things, because they are biased based on their background per se. So if you want to do a recruitment and you want to select a candidate, you will have to look at the candidates. You will have to look at, because some institutions, they have benchmark. If you did not have this certification, they will not take you in. So recruiters will put that into consideration. Sometimes you can skip that. If you have competence, if you know how to do it, sometimes they will not consider the certification. So the practicality of you being able to do something is very, very important, because you need to provide competence. And certifications are there to show that you have the competence. If you have certifications, then obviously you attract the hiring manager to give attention to you, which is obvious, because if you don't know someone, you will not be able to know that person's competence, right? So it is obviously for you to know the person to be able to get that person. So with regards to the number of certifications, someone like if I want to employ someone in the field of DevOps, if the person who has certification will likely have the chance of getting that job that the person who does not have certification. And the level of certifications are important. The higher the certification, the more competence it shows that this person can do this. Because if you have the certification, it shows that you will be able to work in that environment. You don't need to know, you don't need to be able to know exactly how to do that job, because all work environments have different way of the way they do things. If you go in this work environment, this is the way they will be doing things. If you go in that other work environment, this is the way they will be doing things. So you are expected to adapt. And showing those certifications is proving that if you go to that environment, you will adapt. And the other things that will come into play is going to be, do you have the right attitude? If you come, whether you will play along, because having the knowledge is one thing, but being part of working as a team is another thing. So they will test your knowledge in some of those things. Then attitude will come. They will check whether you have the right attitude. Now, can you work with team and stuff like that? So all of those things are very, very important to put into consideration. So, but the competence is number one. Can you do the job? Then the others will come into play. Then they will try to check some of those things. Institutions like AWS, they have principles that you need to be able to work along with those principles in order for you to be able to work into their environments. So it's very, very important to know those principles, learn them, and try to adjust yourself to those principles. So when it comes in terms of recruitment, there is a lot, but certification, competence is number one. Then the rest will come into play.
Hemanth, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, Krishna. A couple of things as rightly said by Amin. So the major market share for cloud computing is with AWS, followed by Azure and Google Cloud. So it is also rightly suggested. So at least if we can have two certifications from two different vendors, that will really help. And since your students are concentrating on the fundamentals, I suggest to go for all the three, so that the adaptability part, what Amin have told, so the recruiter will definitely have an idea. These people have put in their extra efforts and walked their extra miles to prove that no matter what is the cloud, they can do it if they give them the chance. So I suggest to take all the three fundamental certifications, and then if they are interested in any particular one, or maybe depending on the job requirement, they can check for the next level ones. But for the entry level, I believe all the three basic certifications should suffice. And not just the certifications, one should concentrate on what is the knowledge they are getting from it. Not just by having the names and definitions doesn't help them in any way. Even though they are putting, I have a certification from AWS, Azure, and Google. If they are not able to answer them, what is a virtual machine, then it's done. The certifications are of no use. So getting the knowledge along with the certifications, the concepts, what we learn, are we understanding it in the real terms, means in industry, how are these looked at? I mean, how these are looked at, all those things definitely matter. Krishna.
Yeah. Just to add on that. Even now, with the cloud practitioner for AWS, initially it was just for let's say the sales. That is how they would say it. But right now, inside that certification, they are putting in small use cases, wherein it is going a little bit beyond initially the way it was. So that is very important. Just to add more onto what you've just said, it is important for you to know not just know the technology just by reading, but to know what where you can use it and what it is used for.
We'll take one question from students. Yeah, students, you want to ask any question to Amin and Hemanth? Anybody? Yes, Karthik, Nisarga.
One regret I have when I'm a student was I used to not speak much. I regretted it later when I've joined the company. So I suggest you to not be like that and be interactive with anyone. Treat us like your friends. You can ask anything. If you don't know, we can explain you. But sitting silent definitely doesn't help you. You'll regret it later. I mean, and this is a good chance for you, good platform for you and this is really a fantastic effort, as I have told earlier. Nobody will care for the career of a student. They'll just teach you what is in the books and they'll tell you, okay, read that, read this, and you are done. Krishna, as I have told, he is taking that extra efforts. Why he have to sit at 8 hours after 8, taking our time whenever you are free and arranging these sessions. He is taking the extra steps. Then you should also do. It's for your career and is not for his career or his job
Yeah,
or anything. So you should be
definitely.
very free to ask questions, not only to me or Amin or anyone who joins these sessions. You should be very interactive with them. See, you are getting some chance, you are getting to know things which other people of your age or group doesn't know. You are taking that extra step. So use it wisely so that it will be definitely helpful for you. Not just getting the job, you will have the knowledge of everything from the first day itself. I mean, that is what the intention of the program is also, as Krishna have told. So from the day one, you'll be very, confident. You'll be like a senior person who is sitting there and working with all others, not like a fresher who is, very shy to speak to others, who don't know anything, who will think that what happens if someone comes and gives me work. You'll not be in that kind of state. You'll be very confident and, it will be very good for you. So I suggest you to use this platform to the fullest you can and speak up.
That's true.
Yes, students. Yes, Karthik. Any question, Karthik?
Sir, good evening, everyone. This is Karthik. So, sir, I have one question. So, what do I need to do to prepare for the cloud? Like, do I know, should I know the basic fundamental, or where do we start?
Exactly. So even I just wanted the same doubt to be clarified. We're just very much worried and we're stuck in where should I start from? Okay, I'll have to do this, I'll have to do that. Everything is okay, fine. But where should I start from? Could you share us the experience? Like you are from entirely different department. Like one is from mechanical and the other one is from electronics. Totally different, opposite to IT actually. So somewhere you have started with. So could you tell us how you started exactly from the basics?
Okay. I think there is a confusion with regards to understanding the concept itself as a cloud. There is a big confusion because people will think cloud computing is not IT or is the opposite. Cloud is just the name. Cloud is just the name. That's it. Now, let us just forget about the name and just talk about technology. My colleague here did explain that when he was explaining, and I will have to explain a little bit about that. Let us just forget about the cloud. Like, let's say you can even build a cloud. You can even build a cloud on your own. Like on your hands-on, you can build a cloud. Because first of all, you have to ask yourself, what is the cloud? And the cloud is just a normal data center. It is just a normal data center. And it is just your server, and you have virtualization in it, and you have either containers or virtual machines on it, and you have your applications on top of it. And they just give it a name, the cloud. That is it. But it is not different from the IT that you are learning. Now, what makes it the cloud? We have, you should be able to hear these names: AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google. Now, these cloud vendors, they have their own infrastructure in the world, and they have high bandwidth connection between their data centers. They have data centers in different places. They have data centers in the UK. They have data centers in America. they have data centers in Africa, they have data centers in India. And these data centers, they are connected, meaning they have their own infrastructure. So AWS have its own. Microsoft has its own. So, and these data centers, what they do is they will give out part of it as a rent, just to bring it in a layman's term. Like, for example, you want to like deploy an application, and you need a server, and in that server you need a specific amount of storage. I think we all have laptops here. We know that if you have a laptop, it is supposed to run a specific operating system, and it is supposed to have a specific storage. It is supposed to have a specific memory. So you want to deploy your application, and this application, you need a server. In that server, you are supposed to have a specific storage. In that you are supposed to have a specific memory, and it is supposed to have a specific processor. So you go to these cloud vendors, you just tell them, this is what I want, and I want to deploy it, and I want to deploy it, and I want all my users are in the different parts of the world, and I want all of them to be able to connect into that application and do their job. So basically, that is what they call it, the cloud. The name is even a little bit confusing, but it is not the cloud that we see up, but it is that is just a name. So it is not different from the IT that you are doing. Okay, the question that you guys asked, let me come down to that. This question is everything. I used to be a very shy guy. I don't talk in class, and I always sit at the back. But I always ask one question: what do I do in order to be a master in this? And that is the question that you guys asked. And the thing is, you don't need to even think so very high about the cloud. Come down and try to learn things like virtualization. What is virtualization? Because if you want to build your own cloud, like for example, the way I do it in my houses, I am having a server, and this server, I build a cloud there. This is where I do my training. And in this server, what I do is I install virtualization inside it. I think you guys have to tell me whether you know what virtualization is, so that I will be able to at least break that down a little bit, or I can move on. Do we know what virtualization is?
Yes, Nisarga, please answer the question. Do you know about virtualization?
Yeah, kind of definition kind. We could tell it to be a technology. So where we create useful IT services using some resources in a traditional way, I could tell.
Oh, okay. I think you have a computer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a computer. And which operating system are you using?
Windows 10.
Windows 10.
Yeah.
Okay, and you know about Mac, right?
Yeah.
You know about Mac operating system, and you know about Linux operating system.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now if you want to use both Linux, Mac, and Windows operating system in that single computer, do you know how to do that?
You can go with VirtualBox, or you can go with dual booting. There are many options.
Exactly. You see the way you say it, that is what virtualization is. Now, if you are trying to look at the book definition of virtualization, you will not understand the concept. But you see, based on the way you say it, that is what virtualization is. Virtualization is taking a single hardware, installing a software for you to be able to run multiple software inside it, or multiple operating system inside it. That is what virtualization is. And you just need to understand the concept. And if you understand the concept, then it is very clear. And these cloud vendors, what they do is they have their data centers, and these data centers, they have series of servers, and this series of servers, they will just provide it as a rent for people to, if you want a server of this storage and this, we will give it to you and you will use it and they will charge you. If you don't need it, you will just stop it and you will not pay for it. So that is what the cloud is about. So the cloud is not different from the normal IT. So if you learn about virtualization, you understand it and you know how to use it, and that is what cloud computing is. So, but now what you need to understand next is we have Azure, we have AWS, and we have other vendors. They call their technologies different names. If you go to Azure, they call a virtual machine a virtual machine. If you go to AWS, they call it EC2. So they have different names. But in all these vendors, not all the technologies are having different names. There are technologies that are the same in all because there is standardization. A container is a container. And there are products also, I don't know whether I have to go for that, not to, there are products also that you can get from what we call a marketplace. Like you can go and buy anything that does not have to do with any of these vendors, and you just come and install it and just start using it. Okay. Now, to simply explain that, it is just like your house. You have your house, you are living in your house. If you need something, you just go to the shop and buy it and bring it inside your house. Probably inside your house, you are having other materials over there that are there. But if you need something, you just go and bring it. The person, even if you are renting, the person who owns the house will not tell you, you cannot buy this thing and bring it inside the house. Okay, so basically this is what cloud computing is about. And if you can shed light more on it.
Mr. Hemanth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as Amin told, drill down to the smallest thing you don't know. Suppose you don't know about virtualization, drill down to it. Suppose you are not understanding what an operating system means, go to operating system first. So come back till where you don't know the things. From there, you start building the blocks of your learning, be it related to your subjects or cloud or whatever thing you are learning. Come back to the smallest unit till you don't know what it is or what does that mean. Start from there. You add blocks to it, your learning blocks, and finally you'll understand the concept clear. Just by looking at the definitions, by hearting the definitions doesn't help you. You have a lot of resources in the internet with just search. Just type in the Google bar what you don't know and click on search. You will have multiple options and you have multiple resources to understand. So you don't by heart the decision just because you haven't understood it. Doesn't by heart it and go. Come, drill down a bit into deeper to the smallest word possible you don't know, and you start building on it, and definitely you'll start succeeding it. From where you have to start learning all the things. There are three ways of learning. First is the all vendors, be it AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, have their own documentation that is free, available on the internet on their official site. But reading the official documentation is a tedious task, to be honest. There will be hundreds of pages for everything, which you can't read and understand. So to simplify it, your people on YouTube make free videos for you to understand. That is a better thing. Or if you can pay a small amount, like 400, 500, in Udemy, you'll get best courses. Well, they'll break down all the components into the smallest ever possible things and start explaining you that what is cloud, how it is formed, why AWS, what do you learn from this course, and all the things they'll explain in a better manner if you want to spend. I'm not telling you only if you buy Udemy course you'll understand, but there are sorry, these are three different ways of learning. Either you can read the official documentation and understand, which is not quite not possible at your level. Second one is watching videos on YouTube. Third one is buying a course from Udemy if you can afford it. And don't mind that only if you buy a course from Udemy you'll get the knowledge. You have to be a bit more patient. If you can spend, give it more time and try to understand from the available material which is over there in YouTube and Google. You will get a lot of material. And if you still can't understand anything, you can ping me anytime. I'll try my level best to share you the best possible and free resources where you can access and learn all these things.
Just I want to add one point to Amin and Hemanth what they told. They rightly told you can start with some official documentation. It gives you some basic idea about what they're trying to do, what is all it about. Okay, what are the various services they have. Okay, not only reading from the website, not only watching the videos, start practicing parallelly. You're starting creating account on AWS, starting creating a small EC2 instance. Okay, go back to Google and check what is instance, what is EC2, what is compute, what are the various compute services. All those things, go back and get some related information, learn it, and come back and create your own virtual machine. As Nisarga told, through VirtualBox, I can install multiple operating systems and I can run various applications through my computer only. Okay, that is the basic thing, basic point, basic idea behind all these things. Okay, so yes, this is the way you can prepare, Mr. Karthik and Nisarga. Start with small steps. That is why we call this as a crawl. Okay, crawl. You should start your journey while crawling. Okay, you should start from there. That is the basic point. Okay, start doing it. Don't stop with 1 day, 2 days like that. Continue every day some 2 hours. Make time for 2 hours time. Spend 2 hours time and prepare the basic fundamentals. As Amin rightly told, start with virtualization, understanding what is virtual machine. Okay, as Hemanth told, every organization is moving towards cloud. Okay, every organization, they don't want to spend their money easily. Okay, no one wants to spend their money. Okay, as Hemanth told, capex and opex, capital expenditure and operational expenditure. Okay, you should try to reduce it. Okay, as a entrepreneur, I want to concentrate on my business rather than other things. Okay, if I start concentrating on my business, I can get more customers. Okay, I am thinking about my infrastructure, I'm thinking about other things when I will do the business. Okay, that is the main point. Okay, so start from that point so that it will be helpful all the students. Nisarga and Karthik got the answer for your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, and next
Krishna,
question.
yeah,
Yes,
before going to the next
yes, sir.
question, I just want to add one more thing. So, practicing in the cloud may be a costly affair if you don't know the things, how to shut down, and if you just create the services and leave it, you have to end up paying in very badly. So, I don't suggest your students to go for practicing the cloud right away. Let them take some time, get the certification done, and then they might go, because since they have to pay in a minute basis, every minute the bill will be generated and get added to the credit card which they put for creating their account. So let them watch. I suggest them watch the videos on YouTube where many people have explained doing it live. They'll show how to create and all. So doing it hands-on is very good idea, but cloud is a costly affair. If you don't know how to shut down the machines, they'll end up paying the bill very badly. This is one suggestion. And other suggestion, what maybe an extension to what Krishna have told. starting putting your efforts daily. The effort should be always consistent. It is not like that I put 2 hours today and not studying for 2 days and day after tomorrow I'm studying 6 hours. That doesn't work or help. So there is one very small story, motivational story. I'll tell you in 2 lines. So there is a story of this Chinese bamboo tree. I don't know if you all heard. Anyway, so the Chinese bamboo tree, after putting the seed, one have to water it for 4 years. For 4 years, nothing comes out of the ground. That doesn't mean the plant is dead inside or uh, the thing. So we have to water it daily. We will not see the result immediately. It will take 4 years. In these all 4 years, our neighbors will come and tell you, where is your plant? It doesn't haven't grown up. It must have dead. We'll get many such kind of things. So instead of listening to all of them, if you put your efforts consistently, in the 5th year, it will break the ground. And in after breaking the ground in 5 weeks, it will grow 80 feet tall in 2 weeks. So if you are worrying for all the 4 years, I haven't seen anything. I am putting 2 hours effort daily, but all my peers are the same. They haven't put any extra efforts. They don't know anything. I know this much and I'm not getting my results. So you have to put your consistent efforts and wait for the time. Once you start getting the result, and no one can stop you. So this everyone should remember, our effort should be consistent no matter what other people are telling you or whether your friends are doing it or not doing. Whatever effort you are putting now will never go waste. No matter what you are doing, you are studying or you are playing some sport or you're learning something new, whatever you are doing, if you are consistent in that, your results will follow sooner or later. Don't worry in the initial stages. Studying for 1 week and feeling that I've studied a lot, I'm not getting anything. So you shouldn't feel like that. You have just started. So your results will be definitely amazing if you continuously put your efforts. Yeah, Krishna, sorry.
Yes, Hemanth, very good point you told. Yes, it is very motivational. First time I'm listening to this. It is very motivational. Yes, you should wait. Then only you can get results. When you can take my story only. I started long back. I want to do AWS Cloud Practitioner certification. With my other academic activities, I'm not able to concentrate and sit. That is why Hemanth and Amin, I want to tell you one thing. Yesterday we started 100 days challenge. Okay, I created a WhatsApp group. I asked all the students who are interested, join me from yesterday onwards. We are planning to spend 80 to 100 minutes every day. Okay, starting with minimum 80 to 100 minutes every day. I shared one YouTube video yesterday. I asked them to go through the video, watch the video. If they have any doubts, I want to help them. I want to explain the concepts, the fundamentals. Okay, this is how we are planning. Okay, and now question to both of you. Anyone can take this. First certification. Okay, what made you to, how much time it has taken to get certification? Your first certification. I think Hemant completed AWS Cloud Practitioner, and Amin completed 6 certifications. Majority are from Microsoft, right, Amin? All are Microsoft certifications. Is there any reason, Amin?
Nah, is both AWS and Microsoft.
Okay.
I
What is
did
your first certification?
uh,
What is your first certification?
the first certification I did recently is on the cloud, is Azure Azure 900. That is the first one I did. So and okay, one of the reasons why that happened is I started studying AWS, and I started, the way I usually study is a little bit crazy. I start from the top and coming down. So the top certification in AWS is AWS Pro. So I started the studies over there, then coming down. And the reason why I usually do that is it's not the intention to go for the AWS Certification Pro, but I usually like to know the scope of the of what I want to do, then come down and start from the bottom, then going up. So when I started studying the Pro, and I was struggling with the AWS. And the reason why I was struggling with the AWS was the names of the technologies. They were calling everything elastic here, elastic there, and there were a lot of ugly names. So I am used to Microsoft because I use Windows a lot. So I decided to switch and go to Azure, then pick from there, then move forward. So, and with Azure, all of their fundamentals are literally free, because what you do is you attend 2 days session and you sign up and attend a 2-day session, and they will give you that fundamental free. So when I went back to the Azure, I started reading the Azure, then things become easier. Then I started moving up with that. So after doing my first certification, which is the Azure AZ 900, and from there I did Azure Administrator. Then from the Azure Administrator, then I moved to the AWS. I did the Cloud Practitioner. Then I did the Data Fundamentals for Azure. Then I did the AWS Associate. So this is the way I move on with it. But I started with the AWS, then I come back to Azure. Then from there, then I move forward. So considering the amount of time that I take in order to complete the certification, that for the fundamentals, it took me 3 days for me to prepare myself for the fundamentals, to take one fundamentals and do it. But now if I say it takes me 3 days, now that 3 days is just for the exams. That 3 days is not to learn the knowledge, it's just for the exams. Because if you have experience in IT, everything that you learn is relevant to whatever that certification is. So like I said, the cloud is not a new environment, it's just a name. So everything, all the experience that I have, I did, people have to remember that I did master's degree in computer science and in a very prominent University of Liverpool. So all that knowledge matters. All that knowledge counts. So it's not that I just come, because now if you go to LinkedIn, it will just say he did this within 2 months. Now people will be saying I even get some question from other people whether I'm having a photographic memory. And I'm not. I don't. I'm just a regular guy. So so the experience matters. Whatever you learn on your way, it matters. So I used 3 days in order to study for the certification. And normally I don't memorize things. Like if I am doing exam preparations, I don't memorize things. I understand them. Because if some people use dumps, some people use exam preps, but the thing is, if you memorize that, if you go inside the exams, if they bring in different questions, you will not be able to answer it. So and you want to have a career in it. So it is important for you to understand what they are asking. However they ask it, you should be able to answer it. So it took me, for all the fundamentals, the AZ 900 and the DP 900, which is the Azure. One is the Azure fundamentals, one is data fundamentals. It took me 3 days for each. And the cloud practitioner also, it took me 3 days for me to prepare for only the exams and hit it. But like I said, you can see the AWS, I started with the Pro coming down. So most of the things that about cloud practitioner, the terminologies, the technologies, I have learned them. So and I did it. So when it comes in terms of the the major certifications, when you go to the level of associate, it normally takes me 2 weeks for me to it took me 2 weeks for me to prepare for the exam and hit it. But like I said again, it is just the exams. So because exam preparation and knowledge base, these are different things that people have to understand. You first of all need to have the knowledge, then you have to go into the vendor and try to see how they want to test your knowledge. And if you know how they want to test your knowledge, you prepare for that and go into the exam and pass the exam, because the goal over there is to pass the exam. So that is the way you have to go about it. And I used 2 weeks in order to prepare myself and do these other exams. But I usually don't remember anything. I just come and look at the scenario, understand the scenario, what they are looking for. Then I use my best judgment in order to answer those exams. But back in the days, like 2000 and the initial certification, the first certification that I take, the MCSA, it took me almost 4 years for me to cross that certification. And you can see back in those days how difficult certifications are, because you talk about resources. The resources are not available. The internet was slow. And sometimes they will change things, but you will not be aware. Nowadays, we have the internet. Now you have information is very, very dynamic. So, and, there were a lot of, initial learning. There are a lot of information that you have to be able to grab. It's completely different from now, wherein the scopes are not that huge. Things are breaking into pieces nowadays. So it took me 4 years for me to just pass MCSA, which is 4 exams. Initially, it was 4 exams for you to pass MCSA. So that is how long it can take you. So coming back to on a regular basis, for you to complete a fundamental, at least you should spend 6 months. That is the regular. So you can use at least, I can say you can use at least 4 months to drill the knowledge. You can use 2 months to prepare yourself for the exams. If I should advise someone who is starting from a low level, you should at least be able to prepare yourself. Now, that is on average basis. Some people learn faster than others. So if they say 6 months, does not necessarily mean that it can be only 6 months. You can do it in 2 months. You can do it in 2 weeks. You can do it depending on the experience that you also gather whilst you are doing whatever, and depend on the time that you spend on it as well. That is very, very important, because it can take you 1 year for you to complete as a single fundamental. If you are spending every day 15 minutes or every day 10 minutes, if someone is spending more time, that person will be able to complete it quicker than you. So the time you spend on it, the dedication that you put on it also matters. So, and these certifications, they change. So if you are preparing for it, don't prolong it to a certain extent, because if you prolong it, sometimes they add certain things on there. If new technologies come out, it has a grace period before they add those technologies into the certs. But when they are adding it there, they will not tell you we are adding it there. You will just go to the exam hall and just realize that, oh, they have certain things have changed. The way you prepared, it alters it, and you can. And if you go to exams, you did not make it, that's not the end of the world. What you've learned over there, use that in order to move forward. So the duration will differ depending on people. There are standards that are there that you have to look at in order to take the certifications. But if you are ready to take the exams, you will know it. Usually for me, especially now that certifications you can just book it online and just do it within 24 hours. If I am ready, I can't wait to sit it. So if I plan to do it next week and I am ready today, I will do it tomorrow. So I don't need to wait until next week to do it. Maybe before next week, something else can come in. So those are some of the things. So the time period will can differ depending on certain things, but it depends on you yourself and how you plan to do it. And the last thing I will say is you have to set targets. You have to say that this time I will do it, and the target you set, stick to it. For me, if I say I will take an exam next week by this time, I focus on that and do it. You know, that is the way I go about things. Because I want to do certifications and move on with it. There are a lot of certifications that to do. So you don't have to set certifications and, you know, moving it, and, you know, it takes you ages before you do them. So the period it takes solely depends on you. And sometimes they will tell you, make commitments by telling people that you are going to do certifications. Based on that, it does not apply to everybody. Some people, if you make commitments, you are scared to tell people you fail. So if you have that kind of anxiety, don't do it. For me, I will tell people I will do it within this duration, but I will not tell them exactly when I will do it. And when it is time for me to do it, I will just come and tell people I did this and I passed. You know, because you can see that I have done 6 certifications without even the people living around me knowing that I am doing certification and I'm passing. So, and if I pass, then I just move on. So, and certification is about validating your knowledge. You have to know that. If you know that, you don't have to be scared about the certification. You don't have to have at the back of your mind, because it's about you going to the vendor, trying to see whether what you think you know it. If you take certifications that way, you will not have the fear of going for it. Sorry for the long answering of the question. I hope that really helps.
Hemanth, you want to add about your experience with your first certification?
Yeah, my first certification is also AZ900 Azure Fundamentals. When I was in TCS, I have done that. After that, I have completed Azure Data Fundamentals. After that, I thought of taking Azure Administrator by the time I was into Verizon. Here, people are using AWS. So I started with AWS Cloud Practitioner. So I have my AWS Solutions Architect Associate exam on Feb 26th. I'm preparing for it right now. So I'm in the pipeline. So I want to tell you one thing, what Man told, adding to that, giving it an example. Learning is always exponential. If you are taking 1 year for first certification, the second certification will not take 1 year. It will take 1 month. I'll tell you how. Suppose you are learning 10 points for 1 year. The second year, 10 into 10, 100. Third year, 100 into 10, 1000. Fourth year, 100,000 into 10, 1 lakh. Fifth year, 1 lakh into 10, 10 lakhs. Sixth year, 10 lakhs into 10, 1 crore. So you started from 10 and you reached 1 crore in 6 years, not in 100 years. So just keep in mind that everything will not will take long time. All those things, that doesn't happen. Initially, for the foundation to understand the concept, to get you familiarized with things, it takes time. Once you get hang of it, everything just happen in the flight, like in your program. You will fly in the cloud.
Yep. So
Yes.
I think I will ask Hemanth questions, because I always like to learn. I'm not just going to be here giving out. It is supposed to be download and upload, not only uploading. So Hemanth, the 2 certifications with AWS and Azure, which one do you think is is more difficult with regards to the way they provide the exams.
I believe AWS is a bit more difficult because they have a lot of services on that. I think around 234 plus services are there on AWS. We have to remember each and every name, and in each scenario, we have to recollect every name. Understanding it, concluding to an answer is a bit difficult thing compared to Azure. Azure, I think, are mostly straightforward questions, which we can see the question and answer it. But in AWS, I think this is the main difference. And in AWS, I think there are multiple correct answers for a single question also. That is the trick part in AWS. Not just one answer, you'll have two, three correct answers for the same question. So I feel that.
Thank you so much. I was just validating what I think, and that is exactly the way it is. So because that is the feeling that I have. The AWS is more technical, and even if you look at the number of questions that you are going to receive on the fundamentals, the AWS you will have 65 questions.
Yes.
And and the time also is not enough.
90 minutes.
I can say yes. So but if you are doing the Azure, it is about 40 questions.
Yes.
So
40
and
or
yes, and the questions are straightforward and so precise. You can just flash on the question, and if you know it, you can answer. So it is
I have
straightforward.
completed my Azure Fundamentals exam in 9 minutes.
Oh my.
I'm just reading the question and putting the answer, reading the question and putting the answer. And I've got around 890 out of 1000 for it.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
Wow.
that's why I was very confident in saying that AWS is a bit more tougher than Azure.
Yes. Yes.
I
So
took around 22 or 23 minutes for AWS Cloud Practitioner exam.
wow.
Then you want me to change now? You want me to ask my students to start with Azure fundamentals?
No.
Yes.
Anything is
I
fine.
think I did mention something like that. I find it easier to understand the Azure because at the end of the day, learning is all about taking those baby steps, like the main acronym for this program. You have to crawl, walk, and So with Azure, because we most of the time most people use Windows, their terms are not very very complex. You find it easier for you to understand that. So I started studying with AWS, but I have to fall back into Azure in order to pick up because you are not supposed to struggle. You are supposed to understand the technologies. Like for example, if you talk about let's say IDS IPS, Azure will call it IDS IPS, but if you go to AWS, they will call it something else. You will be calling the name, but you will not know that this technology is even what you know. So, and if you do it like that, when you get to AWS challenges you. The associate, maybe by the time I did the exam was not the right time because I scheduled for the exam only 24 hours before. So, and normally I usually do exams 9 o'clock in the morning because I'm an early bird. So I usually wake up early, but I am very active in the morning. So, but when I was doing the AWS associate, I set the exam to 3 o'clock in the morning. So that was, maybe that affected me. So when I wake up to do the exam, almost halfway through the whole exam, I was not awake. So, but when I get to the middle of the exam, then I started to get the rhythm. So by the time I get to the end of the exams, I was exhausted, completely exhausted, because it is literally like 3 hours. It is very, very long. And the questions, last 30 minutes of the exams, I was saying, oh, I am not going to pass this. But, I sat for almost about 2 minutes and just revive myself and, you know, get back on it. And at the end of the day, I was able to pass. And the time you also set the exams, I will advise people, like, the philosophy I have is always do what is convenient for you. You know, don't let like what will others drag you into things that is not within your comfort zone. Don't sit the exams when you are not ready. You know, make sure, because if you get into the exam hall without not being ready, the anxiety will take you off. It's not that you are not there to pass it, or you did not have everything that it takes for you to pass it, but simply because there are certain things that are missing. Now it will just take you off the radar, and within that time frame, if you did not pass it, usually if you come for the second time, it can affect you. So do it when you are ready. Set it. Some people prefer going to exam centers. Some people prefer to do it home. Whichever suits you, do that. You know, there are no silver bullets in technology. Like, for example, this is what is best for everybody. No, there is no best. This can be good for this person and this can be good for another person. So with the certifications, I really wanted, thanks for the validation, Hemanth. I really needed, people used to say that, I was saying to myself, but the cloud is the cloud. But then, to be honest, AWS seems to be more challenging than, and I don't know. I used to also ask myself about that. Whether are they not even making the certification even more difficult? But that's not an encouraging statement to say, but that is it. Because we have to know that these certifications, if you get them, they are fortunes. You know, they say exactly what you are. If you are really certified, you know. I can even recall the time I was doing the MCSA, the institution I was doing it in, they have a private exam. So I was busy preparing myself for the external exams. And the private exam, the time that they were supposed to sit it, I did not sit it. I was busy just preparing myself for the external. So when I sat the external exam and I completed it, I went to the head of the institution. I told the head of the institution, I want to do the internal exams. He said, what are you going to do the internal exams? So I said, yeah, what is the requirement for the institution? He said, Microsoft certify you. Why? Who am I not to certify you? Once you have a top certification, who is this institution not to give you this certification? So then that is how critical these certifications are. And the other thing I will also add is, when I was coming to the UK, I wanted to do a PhD. That was my primary goal. I have an admission and I was but because of the pandemic, when I came in, I decided to look for other ways around. And the only thing that I see which could get me to where I want to get was certifications. And that was the main reason that was one of the big reasons that was why I went for the certifications. And there are certain certifications that you have, they are equivalent to PhDs. So, but what matters is these certifications are very, very relevant for the industries. You know, they show that if you get to the industry, you will be able to do it. Bachelor's degree, master's degree, these are academics that, you know, they widening your scope, they widening your capacity. You will be able to, you know, evolve in any environment. You'll be able to do anything in any environment. But these certifications, you know, it's about the technology and how you implement it. You definitely need to be hands-on in order for you to be able to do it. So that's the difference. So if you understand the difference between academics and professional certifications, then obviously you will be there. And even if you go and do master's, BSc, you definitely need the professional certifications in order to work in certain industries. So sometimes the people will want to, you know, try to bring the difference between which one is more important. None. They are all important. You know, someone who has both is more powerful than someone who has one. You know, if you are professionally qualified, And someone as academics, you will be very, very good in authors and all of those things. And if you add the two, then that makes you an icon. Thank you.
Then now I ask my students to start with AZ 900. Okay, it will be easy for them to get their first certificate. Can I go with Microsoft Learn platform to get the fundamentals of AZ 900, Hemanth? What you say?
Yeah, I think that should suffice. If they can afford for a course in Udemy, I would recommend Alan Rodrick's course in Udemy.
Okay,
He
for
explains
AZ
everything
900.
he explains
Okay.
everything with a practical one. If he is
Yeah.
telling you that I am creating a virtual machine, he'll show you. He'll create one virtual machine and show you. So I definitely recommend Alan Rodrick's course in Udemy.
Can you spell it, Hemant? Is it possible to send a
Yeah,
message so that students will note down, and coming Friday you can register for the course, students, friends on Udemy.
Yeah. So just to add on what Matt said, I also use Alan Rodriguez, the Udemy. I have almost all his Udemy when it comes in terms of the Azure, all of them, from AZ 900 to 104, 305, 304, all of them. And he is the one that I also follow. And apart from that, we have John Saville. He also provides Cram on YouTube, John Saville. So John Saville, it is good to start with it and end with it as well. Like because what his crams are not very long. His crams are like for the AZ 900. The cram is almost about if I could fully recall, is about 2 hours, 1 hour, some minutes. You can listen to it and it will cover the whole scope. And before you go and take the exams, you can also listen to that cram. It also helps. So the Microsoft Learning, you cannot do the certification without the Microsoft Learning. It is always important to reference the Microsoft Learning. There are certain things go to the Microsoft Learning in order to try to get it. So usually for me, what I do is I go to Microsoft Learning. The certification that I will do, I download the scope of that particular certification, what you are supposed to cover. So, and if I am studying, I mark the ones that I cover. Now, if I understand something, then I just mark that. If I understand, so that will, in that way, I will be able to keep track of, the things that the things that I've already covered. Then this is the way I move about it. But the Microsoft Learning, you have to use it, and there are a lot of free resources out there that you can use. But the other thing I will also add is but that is me. Maybe probably it will not apply to others. You look for the best resources and go for them. There are a lot of resources out there, but some won't be necessary for you to, because like for example, you are supposed to have a time period. Within this period, you have to complete it. There are a lot of resources out there. Look for the best resources and look for the best instructors, follow their guides, and it will get you there. So it's very important to also select the right materials that will get you there, and just stick to those ones. So thank you.
Alan, can you type that in chat window? That one instructor you told, right?
Yeah, sure.
His name.
Yeah, will do.
So I have a question. Since we are talking about certifications and exams to take up plenty, and can you tell us what exact platform we'll have to follow for taking up the exams and to get certified? Because we have only told about the traditional way is that we'll have to contact, or we have to get in touch with some industrial experts or some um, technical institutes, get registered there, and then you have to go under the training and then just take up the exams, and will not be even sure that am I really getting certified from AWS? Am I really attending the exams of whatever the AWS is actually giving us? Gus, so can you tell us the exact platform where you guys get certified, and how did you take up the exams actually?
I'll tell you, Nisarga, from my experience, if I have to say, I understand the confusion. You are feeling like you'll be paying your money to some institute, and they'll be training regarding you that certification, and you feel that they will give certification for you for
Exactly. So
AWS.
we were not sure. We are not even sure that
No,
is this the exam that
no,
AWS is given. So that is what like many of us, I think
no.
most of us
Ni-
like get
Yeah, yeah.
confused too.
I got your point. So what you have to do is once you complete your learnings for the exam, suppose you have taken some course in YouTube, you have completed the official documentation, and you feel, and there are also mocks available in Udemy. So before you are going for the actual exam, you should appear or sit for the mocks so that you will get the actual feel of the exam. Suppose if you write 4 or 5 mocks before the actual exam, you'll understand how it feels in the actual exam and what kind of questions you may get. So directly after completing all these things, you can directly book a slot in Azure itself or in AWS itself. There will be no third party vendor coming you and giving you these certificates. You will get a mail directly from AWS or Azure or Google, whoever the provider is. There will be no third person involving in between. You don't need to worry about that. And in your certificate, it will be as Microsoft certified only. I'll show you if I have. I don't remember I have it. Just give me a minute. I'll show you how the certificate looks also.
So what if like we fail to pass the exams, and is there like, I
You
hope you
can
understand my
reattempt it
question.
after 1 month. I think there is a cooling period in which you cannot give the exam again. But once that cooling period is done, you can give the exam. But I don't suggest that you are going for the exam and failing. Once you are going, you are only going for the exam when you are ready to pass it. That's why I've
Yes.
told the importance of mocks also. Even I don't suggest anyone going to the exam and failing. When you know that you are failing in the exam, I would go and sit and waste thousands of rupees in that exam. I'll show you my certificate so that you'll understand how they look like. This is AZ900 certificate. You will get directly from Microsoft with your name when you have completed the exam, and you have credential ID at the bottom. Suppose someone think that I have faked this certificate or morphed this certificate or created it out of my own, they can type this number in the Microsoft site and this certificate will appear there, verifying that this person has completed this particular certification. The same follows with AWS also. You will get a certificate from Amazon like this. When I have completed, when it will expire. For AZ900, there is no expiration for fundamentals exam, but for AWS, the certificate expires in 3 years. Means after 3 years, you have to appear for the exam again. The same way you can see it for AWS also. If you want to validate for this certificate, you can go to this site and enter this number, and it will show you who have completed the certification and when. If the details are not matching, this is a fake certificate. If the details are matching, this is a valid certificate. I'll show it for you also so that you'll get an idea. So there will be no third party coming in and faking the certificates or giving you. See, I've entered my number, and when I click on this, it is giving my name, what certification I have done and when I have completed. And this is directly an Amazon site. I hope this clarifies your question. You don't need to worry about third parties and things. You can directly book your exam with directly Azure, AWS, or Google, and you can get your certificates. You'll get it to your mail.
Hemanth, thank you.
I hope that clarified your question, right? Not only for
Yeah,
you. To
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just to repeat the same thing that you just said, there is no difference. The certifications that you have from the industry are the certifications that is more valuable than any certification that you get in any institution. If you have any certificates in any institution, certificate of accomplishment, you have done a program, then you have completed. And certificate of industrial certification, they are completely different. If you go to an institution, the institution will give you a certificate that you have done what particular program that you do. If it is AZ 900 and you have completed it, they will give you certificate of completion. But if you want to be certified by the vendor himself, let's say AWS, then you have to do that external certification. Sometimes they will tell you if you come and do the program, then the certification is inclusive, which is all right. But you can do it different way, depending on the way you want it. If it is budget wise, the best way you can do it without not spending a lot, because I have done 6 certifications, but what I have spent is very, very minimal. It's very, very little. Data fundamentals, I did it free. Azure fundamentals, I did it for free. Azure, all the fundamentals, they are literally for free. So you have to attend a 2 days work program, and they will give it to you. I don't know whether this is applicable all over the world. I believe it is, but that is that is how I got it. And there are other things that you can also get from Microsoft. They are challenges that you will sign up. There is a 30 days challenge. If you do it, they give you 50% discount. And there is a challenge that I attended. I don't know, I have forgotten the name of that challenge. But if you do it, they give you a full program that you will do with no cost. But it is a period that you have to do it. And those challenges, the nice thing about those challenges, even the practicals, they give you a sandbox to do it, wherein it will not cost you anything. So you will take this sandbox and you will do all the practicals. You don't need to, sign up a credit card or go through all those struggles, making sure that the virtual machines are turned off and the like. So there is a lot out there that you can use at this present moment with this internet age. There is a lot that you can leverage in order to do a whole lot. I know when it comes in terms of not having enough access to internet, that limits your level of access to those resources. But there is a lot out there that you can also use in order to so it's a matter of talking to people who have gone through some of those things, and they give you the information. And I think that is how important this program is, because for us, we have done it and we didn't spend a lot. And if you are certified by Microsoft, you don't need to worry about any other, because the organizations out there, they will trust Microsoft than any other vendor. Now, because it is Microsoft certifications themselves. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Hemanth and Amin. Thank you for your valuable time. So